interested.
I don't care.
I don't care either.
We need like a chair for this meeting, or do we need to elect
Well,
a
that's-
vice chair?
I think we should elect the vice chairman of the committee.
You know, historically, we've not had a vice chair in this committee, and this has not necessarily been an issue in the past. In fact, this is the first time in my 2 years that it has been an issue. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a point of discussion too. Should we make that a permanent or just as needed or whatever? And I think
Matters
there's
not to
probably good points to do both. And we're not gonna be running afoul of any kind of, state or,
I think the law just specifically,
we have the parliamentarian
Names.
here, we can ask on that.
the state law just specifically names the mayor as chairman, and outside of that, it doesn't.
Mr. Burkhalter, may I ask a question since you're here in an unofficial capacity? Put your parliamentarian hat on.
No, I am.
You got a parliamentarian right there.
Wait a minute, that's right, I forgot.
Trying to tell him.
I forgot.
Hey, I'm gonna pass the vote as quickly as I can.
Okay. My bad, I apologize, because I remembered now that you mentioned the fact that we made that change last time. I've been used to the other. So, in your experience, there's no problem with doing it?
No, I think it's probably a prudent thing to do so that as we run into this down the road where the mayor can't be here, that we've got a way to conduct the
And
meeting.
it's an automatic because that person's already in place. Is that correct? Is that your opinion?
Yep.
Good enough for me.
I agree.
So would somebody like to volunteer or
I
something?
don't mind doing it if you want me.
I think you'd make a good volunteer, that's why I'd
Who?
make a motion for you to be the chairman of this committee
Vice chair.
tonight.
When you say you, that's
Well,
a pronoun.
he's on another page, he's saying tonight.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Holden Lale, I'll make that in a motion.
That'd be the easiest job to have because all you gotta do is keep you guys in line from that point, you know. As far
I'll
as-
second that motion.
That'd be fine.
Need to keep your mouth shut, you know,
I think Mr. Mellon's trying to teach me a lesson. Okay.
We need Pat, we need a voice vote, or do we need
Sorry.
Motion, make sure she got what you all intended.
Kenneth Melton made the motion that Holden Lale would chair the meeting this evening, and that was seconded by Mike Lewis.
Yes.
I'm glad you didn't put the part in there about keeping my mouth shut there. Thank you. Good.
Do you
So
want
it's,
to do a voice vote?
just to be sure, that's only for this meeting?
Just for this meeting, yes, sir.
Okay. That's perfectly agreeable with me because that way we'd have time to think about.
And it on an as-need basis.
Yeah, and if we wanted to have a permanent vice chair, we'd have a little time to kind of wrap our ideas around it and maybe
Find out about it. Right.
Yeah, good idea, Mr. Melton. I would do it on that basis. Thank you. Okay. So,
Did you vote on this? Voice vote?
yeah.
We need,
Okay.
All those in favor
Okay.
say yes.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Abstain.
Any
Okay.
opposed? They all said aye.
Okay, Ms. Pat, could you do a roll call now that we are officially in
Yes,
session?
thank you. Lale,
Here?
Lewis,
here,
Melton,
Here.
Mitchell, Samples.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. And Pat, do you have the emergency announcement? Could you read it for us, please?
In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you've reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and emergency vehicles.
Thank you. In the audience, are there any input on items on the agenda? Seeing no hands, we shall proceed. Section D, purchasing for information only. Any questions from this board concerning that section on purchasing? Okay. I would stand then for an approval of the minutes of the October 2012 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Sample, second by Commissioner Lewis. All those in favor, by voice vote, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by same sign. Thank you. Okay, moving down into the finance portion of this agenda, we will now consider item 1A, drug court grants, 50,000 transfer for better allocation codes. Mr. Is there anyone here to speak to that? Mr. Vineyard, do you have information concerning that one for us?
This originally was considered to be a pass-through grant, and that is not correct. It's actually a state grant, so it's literally just changing the account code that will recognize the grant.
Okay. I have a motion for approval by Commissioner Samples. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Melton. All those, any discussion?
Is that a specific grant, Randy, that you know of for any particular purpose? Okay, thank you.
Okay. In this particular item, and again, to repeat what Mr. Vineyard said, it is basically a housekeeping correction there. Okay. If you're ready to vote, we will vote. All those, I think we probably need a roll call on this one.
Lael,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mitchell, Samples.
Yes.
Okay. Item 1B, General County Sheriff, $62,385 reimbursement for improvements to firing range. Do I hear a motion to get it on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Melton, motion to approve.
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis. Discussion.
We don't have anybody here, do we?
I'm gonna
Randy's going to speak to this.
Jeff French called me earlier today and apologized that he was scheduled for class this afternoon and early this evening, so he had a conflict and couldn't be here, and asked me if I would present it. This is improvements that were bid out for improvements to the firing range, and in exchange, the National Guard will be reimbursing us for this in exchange for their utilization of the facility.
Is that the repair that was needed on the roof system?
Yes, if you've been out there, I was out there about 2 months ago, and they had made me aware of what was in the plans at that time to upgrade it, and there's been some wandering shots out there.
But it had something to do with the center
Part-
beam or something?
Yes, that's correct.
So that's what this is, and it's being reimbursed by the
National Guard.
National Guard?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Motion on the floor is to approve. Roll call, please.
Lael,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mitchell, Samples.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the General Purpose School Fund Instructional Supplies, $39,053, reimbursement for costs for special ed students. And I'm thinking this is the housing issue that we've slashed and beaten around for the last couple of meetings, Mr. Troy? No, a different one?
No, this is a different one.
Okay.
This is a request for your approval for an increase of $39,053 to appropriate instructional supplies from the state of Tennessee. We budgeted $150,000 this year for that revenue line item, and the actual revenues have come in at $189,053, which would be an increase of the same amount. there should be a memo in your packet directing from the state that says we have to budget those funds. So we're appropriating those funds that they have sent us, and we've already received that revenue.
Okay, let me interrupt you just a second. We need a motion on the floor to do open discussion. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Melton. Sorry to interrupt you, but we
Okay.
needed to get back to the business part of it. This is actually, if I may, Troy, this is actually money that has been appropriated by the state, and the increase in the line item is due to increased revenues, correct?
Yes, sir, from the state, and we have received those revenues.
Okay, and those state revenues, as a lot of them are not always specific when they first give you estimates, so you're subject for these increases to occur from the state level to us as those funds become available.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Lael,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mitchell, Samples. Motion passed.
Okay, next item of business is item 1D, other capital projects, education capital projects, $150,000 to replace the HVAC units at 5 schools. And I see we have Mr. Farmer here to bring us some information. Do I hear a motion to get it on the floor? Mr. Samples moves, and second, Mr. Lewis. Mr. Farmer, you have some information
Yes,
for
sir.
us?
You should have in your packet, the schools and the locations where these are going. These are all that we're trying to get caught up. At the present time, every one that you see in front of you is not operable. And, so that's why this is there. The money that we're requesting to move into this is the non-designated capital. Mr. Vineyard can explain if there is any question on that.
Any questions from this body for Mr. Farmer and Mr. Vineyard?
Well, tell us about the non-designated. Is that the money that was left over? That money?
Yes, if you were to go down and look at the Fund 189 Capital Projects Fund balance, originally at the beginning of the year, there was a little over $600,000 that could be appropriated. Since then, we have, through your action, have approved appropriation of some 200 and some odd thousand dollars. There's about 60 or 80,000 left right now. That's where, that would be the funding source for this proposal. Is that right, Troy?
Yes, sir.
And Gary, just for purposes for this committee, you are in the process of putting together a maintenance program so that as these units gather age, before we spend an arm and a leg trying to maintain them, we'll be able to replace them and cut down those maintenance costs.
Yes, sir. We should not have to come back at any point for a large amount like this. We should be able to budget through the years as we're going on our asset management to handle this. However, we've gotten behind on it. I'm trying to get us caught up.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, these are replacement units by and large
Yes, sir.
for these, and I know.
It is replacement. It's not repairs, it's replacement.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, because a lot of these are, having been in some of these buildings, those things, a lot of them have given trouble over the years, so that's a good idea. Any other questions from this body for?
Randy, on that report you gave us on undesignated fund balance, capital projects complete moved back, what does that mean?
I can answer that. Maybe is that 7,600?
Capital projects complete moved back, 7650 it leaves, and I'm still confused about why we have that bracketed. It's not a negative amount.
You have fund, if you have a fund balance, it is shown as a negative number because it is available for appropriation, which are in essence debits.
Okay.
The debit system. I understand.
Now, can you explain what the complete move back is?
There was another project that you all had approved earlier, was the boiler.
The boiler.
At
Okay.
Porter, and we had appropriated I want to say 20,000 or
So
25,000,
this is
something
put
like that.
back in there.
And it did not cost us that much.
Okay.
And so the monies were moved. We didn't spend that much money, so this is just moving that money back into the unassigned.
I understand what it means now, okay.
And then if you approve this next month, when you get this same report, it will show this transaction being posted against that and reducing that fund balance by $150,000.
Okay. Any other questions by this body?
Let me just clarify what you just said. The 150,000, if we approve this, is that coming off the 387 then?
Yes.
Okay.
That's restricted fund balance. Seeing no other questions, roll call, please.
Lael,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mitchell, Samples.
Yes.
Motion
Thank you.
passed.
Okay, item 1E, other capital projects, education capital projects line, $25,000, replace bleacher seating and Heritage High School gym. Do I hear a motion to get it on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Mr. Melton moves.
Second.
Second, Mr. Samples. Okay, discussion, questions? Mr. Farmer? It
This
is
is-
what it is.
It is, it's to replace, it's the lower units on both sides. The plastic seating that was put on there several years ago has deteriorated, it started breaking, and numerous ones have had to be removed. We went in and actually removed all of them in the student section, and right now it's becoming a liability standpoint, and we've got to get them replaced.
Just point of clarification, are these original seating
No, sir.
that you're replacing now? These are some
No,
of the...
sir. These were replaced several years ago.
Okay.
The original seating, if you'll remember, Mr. Lael, were wooden seats. These were the bleachers that come in. All we will be replacing on these, it will not be the sets and the bottoms of them. All it will be is the hardware and the seats.
Okay, and this...
Everything else is still in place.
And the replacement is gonna be plastic,
Yes, sir.
that new hardened plastic
sir.
stuff? Okay.
Yes, sir. The existing ones have started cracking and actually breaking in the centers. And from a liability standpoint, we can't leave them there.
Okay. Any questions from this body? Roll call, please.
Lael,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mitchell, Samples.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, section G, finance, I think these are just for information only, report of fund balance and use. Randy, do you have any discussion you want to, for clarification purposes on this, since we discussed earlier it might be a different format?
This was a request that came out of the last commission meeting, and to ensure that this becomes standardized and gets to the commission every month as was requested, I made the decision to bring it before as part of the packet to the budget committee, and then it should automatically flow all the way through to commission. The question I would pose to you is, you've asked some questions tonight that are all legitimate questions. Note that these are unaudited numbers. The audit is not finalized by the comptroller's office yet, so there have been no adjustments or anything other than what you see here. And once that final audit is completed and submitted to us, then we will update this with any audited designation. If you see brackets around the number, that is good. If you'll think about a balance sheet, you have assets, liabilities, and fund equity. And the liabilities and the fund equity are shown in parentheses for simplicity's sake in our explanation. The only activity that you should see on here other than a beginning balance would be, in this case, on the general fund, purchase orders that we canceled. That would have been purchase orders that were where purchases were requested sometime during the year. All of those purchases did materialize, so there was a remaining balance. We canceled the purchase order. That flows back to the reserve or the fund balance. And then the other activities would be those matters that have been brought to you and commission and then approved, and they've been posted against fund balance.
Okay.
If this is not a suitable format, we're open to change it to whatever would make better sense, but it is a cumulative total. So to my comment earlier, next month you will see whatever activity that came at this agenda and approved or considered by the commission. It would be posted on here, and then you'll see this updated each month.
So you didn't like copy and paste this off of another report. This is one that we came up with, so we can change whatever. I would take the parentheses out of a positive number.
Okay.
Put the parentheses on a negative number, because it'll eliminate a lot of questions going forward.
All right. Anything else?
Basically, you're providing a monthly snapshot of the state of the union or the state of the condition of the union, so to speak.
The state of the fund balances of our primary operating funds.
Thank you. Any other questions on that? Okay, thank you. G2 monthly reports are there information-wise. Item H, input on items not on the agenda. Do I have anyone who wishes to speak concerning items not on this agenda? Seeing no hands, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Samples and Mr. Lewis, take them in any order you want. We are adjourned. Thank you.